Hey guys, welcome back. It's Valiant time again. I'm getting some real serious time in this car. I really want it on the road, so I guess that makes it more of a priority for me, so therefore it gets more work done. I'm really excited about driving this car very soon, so here we go. I did a little bit of work during the week. I got the roof lighting and the front and rear screens out of the car. I was going to do that on camera, but I was here doing other work and it just worked out that I got it done in between other things. So I can tell you that was horrible, essentially. The roof lining was just full of rat-infested mouse, chewed up garbage, and I filled the vacuum cleaner like 3 times cleaning that junk out. It was putrid. So that is a job that is done, thankfully. I took the windscreens out because it's getting a new roof lining. I also needed to assess a water leak that was coming through the windscreen, which I have found. I'll show you that soon. I might just turn this around and we'll go over the car and see what's going on with it. There's also some cool stuff. I'll show you what's in the shop at the moment because we get to have some fun around here. Let's start with this. This is a like 05 Dodge Challenger, right-hand drive converted. Hang on, let's have a little squiz in here. Like, it is one stunning motor vehicle. Has a 5.7 litre Hemi in it, which is just badass, man. Been exhausting this car this week, and I'm in love with it. I'd own that. I'd definitely own that in a heartbeat. That is just a killer ride. I think they did a really good job of remaking this vehicle. I love it. Anyways, that's that car. Valiant's there. And I did some purchasing. Last weekend I went and picked this up. This is a 318 small block Chrysler Mopar e-motor. Came out of a Dodge Ramjet, so kind of like a Bronco for those of you who don't know your Dodges. It's a perfectly good, fully dressed, complete engine. I wasn't really planning on turning the Val into a V8, but at the same time wasn't not planning on it either, if that makes any sense. So when this came up, I just couldn't resist it. I grabbed it. It's just going to sit here for now. The Valiant will get registered with a 6-cylinder in it, so I quite like the little slant 6. So we're going to run with that for a little bit yet. But anyways, that is in the background. I'll acquire some more parts for it. Got those screens out, and it's really neat. That looks bad, but it's not. It's just dirty once you get back through it. That's all going to clean up nicely. So no rust in the back here, which is a dead set bonus. Front is just as good. It had lots of silicone and whatnot in it. I was a bit worried it was going to be a rusty mess. And it's good. I haven't cleaned anything up. I'm going to paint the top of that dashboard. Where the water was coming in, which has caused that rust in the floor, was on this side here. So on this space here, it's quite good. But I'd say the water must have been tracking. And we've got rust down in there. So I'll clean all that up. I'm going to use new rubber, reuse the old window with the new roof lining. That'll be nice. There's no roof lining in there. The roof is absolutely mint. I'm not joking when I say it was full of rat mess. Like, it was just full on, just madness. Gave me hay fever for like a week. I don't recommend that for a second. So tonight's mission is to fix a little bit of rust and get the car rust proof. That's my big goal. Because pretty much it's at the stage, once I've got it all cleaned up and rust proofed, it goes down. Its new seats are being trimmed at the moment. New seats, new carpet, new roof lining, a few other goodies. Should come up nice. I do need to address this. I wasn't going to, mainly because I'm getting lazy, but if I don't do it now, I can't do it later when there's all interior back in the car, so I should probably do that. So lazy sometimes. Anyways, I'm going to deal with that. And the rest of it's all rust free. Just a good old country car. So, we'll do a bit of a run through. I'll repair this bit of rust here. We'll just paint it with some white. That'll come up just fine. I'm just going to touch up. See those little bits of surface rust there? Just going to go over. They're very light. We'll just give them a quick little bit of paint. Then we're going to drown this thing in rust proofing, which is a bit of a trick I've got going on with that too, so I'll show you that bit next. Well, there's a lot of talking in one hit. Let's do some work. I've just cleaned that up with a buff, and that is considerably worse than what it first looked. There's even a hole. It's a perfectly round hole, so I'm going to assume there's a bit of stuff in there. I'm going to assume that was meant to be a hole there for some reason at some stage. So what I'll do is I'll cut this piece here out, then we'll get to the underside. I'll clean up any of this backing metal and we'll prime that, and then we'll come back over this lower part, repair up under it, come back over it. Good as freaking new. The product of choice is a Dymark zinc guard. I don't know. It was the most convenient one, I suppose, so I chose it. It says it is the rust reformer. So apparently that's going to make rust okay. I don't believe it for a second. But it was better than not doing anything in there, and I haven't got time to sandblast and all that sort of jazz, so that is all primed up and cleaned up. I've also sprayed a large amount of the inside of this panel, well past wherever the rust affected area was. So that should save on us some, you know, make it better for the long run. Got it running down there. I had it everywhere. Anyways, as soon as that dries, we'll start mocking up some panel pieces and get it welded back up. Not only one for a cardboard tracer, but it's a bit of a dicky area. So I'm gonna use my piece of cardboard here and cut myself 2 templates. They'll be rough and then I'll sort of mold them in the suit. So let's get some stuff cut. Alright, it's just a simple little piece. It's our first little bit. I'll just trace that fellow out, cut it, we'll trim it and make it all neat, and I'll weld him in. So that's my little roughed in piece. I've just curved this bit around here. That'll need a bit more work, and this needs to go in a bit at the top. But what I want to do is come in here and get this piece here tacked in, and that'll give me the heat in the material, and I can bring that back in a bit further because the next level has to come over the top of that. So it's welder time, I guess. So after a small fire, that piece is now roughed in, and it looks like the fire's out. That's good. Obviously set fire to a bit of that fresh primer there. So that welding looks rather bad. It's very difficult to weld zinc plate to old metal, but you just go on and spot each section of it, one build, one on the other. I'm using about a 1.2mm fill piece on this really thin bodywork, so I just put most of the heat into the replacement metal and just let the overlap catch the car body itself. So I'm pretty happy with that. You can see, yeah, there's a fire. It sort of blew out of there a bit. That's alright, we'll clean that up. So I'll grind all that off and we'll lay in our top piece. It didn't quite go to plan. Damn. So I was just grinding this back and I accidentally got a little bit carried away in this corner here, and the grinder just took away so much material. So I've just refilled that with fresh material and ground it. It means it's not as, you know, seamless as I was hoping it would look. But anyway, that is what it is. Come back up here now and make this piece and just move on with the night. Ta-da! Just like that. So I'm pretty good at patching floors, sills, anything that's not really seen. Something that's seen, not my skill set. But I did manage to blend all this area back well enough. I'm happy. I'll clean this up a little bit more soon. And I've got this seam line here, which I really wanted to keep. I just, you know, you'll be able to tell it was repaired because, well, I repaired it, so it's noticeable. But there's no rust in this area anymore, so that's the main aim of the game. I'll come back over this and clean this up a little bit more. I'm going to use a little bit of Sikaflex in here. We'll prime it. It should be good. A bit of white paint. It'll stand out badly, but it won't be rusty, and that really is the most important part. Well, I'm just going to let the Sikaflex go off on that. I'm pretty happy with that little repair. It's what it needed to be. It ain't pretty. You can see where I've done it. No doubts with a bit of filler or whatnot, you could, you know, make sure you couldn't see where I've done it, but man, every old car's got some kind of repair. I'm okay with being able to see that one inside the door. I'd rather not use filler where I don't have to. So let the Sikaflex go off. I might just ignore that for now. We'll prime it before the night's out. And I'll move on to rust proofing. Let's go play with that. I'm going to show you a little budgetary trick I do. Alright, bear with me a little bit on this. I don't have a tripod. I was going to go buy one today and we would step up our games and such and make a slightly better video where, you know, you see all of my head instead of just my mouth, but I didn't. So I just rigged up a seat and you guys are on it, so I'll just get in a slightly crouched position and this will work. I'm cool. So what I'm going to do is rust proof it. I bought rust proofing. That's what we're going with. It says it's Australian made, so I was pretty stoked about that. Colour's golden brown, it's going to be inside the roof, so no one cares about that neither. I went with this one because it has this top on it. Now, instead of buying like a $300 gun that does this properly, and it still didn't really do as well as I wanted it to, I went and bought one of these for $40 or $38 or something along those lines. It's the U-Pole Raptor applicator gun. You've probably seen one of these on a previous video I did when I did the Ute liner at the HQ. I borrowed that one. I had to bite the bullet and go buy one, so it is what it is. Basically, it has a tube, this little fellow here that screws on here. And then I'll be able to, apparently this is the same thread, so let's hope that's right. This should screw up into here and hey presto, we're away. A few small extensions to that, put that away for a second, is I want to get like that far into the sills. From either side I've got access. And I'm just not going to get this nozzle to spray, you know, half a metre. So, what we're going to do is I went to Bunnings today and just bought some of this cheapy stuff. The plan is to make a big long extension piece and spray it in there. I've done this before with a short extension piece. I'm going to go for like 500 mils here, so I don't know, that much. That feels good. Let's cut that off with our side cutters here. Jeez. Now it's a little bit cold and this doesn't really fit on here. They're about the same size, so I'm just going to take my trusty lighter here. I'm just going to be careful doing this. This stuff will go like heat shrink. You don't need a lot of heat. You just need to heat it up a fraction. Especially it's a pretty cold night here. It's like, I don't know, 12 degrees or something, which Queensland, that's pretty cold. I'm just going to jam this fellow over here whilst he's warm. Just working a treat. Get it on there as far as I can before it wants to stop. Just once it cools down a bit again, it won't go on or off. So there you go, see? Well, there's the camera. So it's going to be that. For a bit of good luck, trusty zip tie. Because, you know, when did a zip tie ever fail you? Zip tie him on there. Oh, nice and tight. Trim off the ends because we're professionals. Lose that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip out some of this fellow, thin it down. Apparently it is thinned by enamel thinner. So we're going to thin it down with that fellow. The reason I'm doing that is not to make the product go further, but to make it go further. What I want to do is make it so it's so thin that when I spray it in there in a large volume, I'm just going to flood the inner sill basically. And I just want it to really get down into all the double paneling and get right in there and run out the base of the car. I'll then go back over it later with can number 2. And we'll put a proper layer in there and make sure it's going to, you know, stay there for a while. I'm not going to thin it by much. It does actually have thinning instructions on the back here, which I very quickly read to find out that I need this thinner. I'm just going to make that up. I want it fairly thin. I'm going to dump this. This is 1 litre. I'm going to dump 1 litre in the sills alone. The rest of it will be fine. I'll spray it in through the roof and all bits and pieces, but this fella here I want to drown the sills with, so I'm going to go ahead and make this little concoction a reality. We'll jump inside the car there with some air, spray her out. Alright, here we are, a big long nozzle. Just going to feed him in this part of the sill, as far as he will go. He's not playing the game because he's got a hook, you know. Really, that's about as far as I can go, actually. Oh, let it be pumped. And just run it in. I'll get it from the other side as well. Oh, this is already getting messy. That was bound to happen. Look at that. Yeah. Get in there. These are getting the idea. That's the action we want. And just everywhere, just lay it in. Oh yeah. That's gonna need a rag. Anyway, I'm gonna keep doing this to the rest of the car. Just gonna take my time on these sill areas around here and up the guards and all that sort of thing. Make sure we get it really well, and then I'll start laying in the top of the roof, probably take the rubber hose off, but see how we feel. Anyway, I'm gonna get after this. Well, I'm going to wrap this video up right here, I think. There's our repair in there. I haven't put any primer on it yet. Just going to let that Secaflex go off properly. So like I say, I'm more than happy with that. And I've managed to sink a solid 2 litres into the roof line. So all of the roof line, the pillars, there's a hole in this, for the seatbelt on that pillar. I managed to get that tube pretty much all the way down, and then that little other hole in the bottom, got the tube the rest of the way back up and just filled her. Down there, I used the visor holes in the front corner there to fill the front sills, all the tops, and all the lower parts, and all the wheel arches. So there's 2 litres just in this section alone, and that's thin, so it's probably more like 2.5 litres. So I think that worked out really well. Pretty happy all round. It's got a really good thick layer on top of the first thin layer I did. You can kind of see in there, like, I coated it, man. So yeah, and then I've just come back over and done some white touch-ups, just as a few surface rusty bits. You can see my prep was pretty average. I'm totally cool with that because the roof lining covers it all anyway. I just didn't want anything to be nasty underneath it. We're going to be this far into the car, so we'll get it right. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I need to come back and just clean all this edge here up and paint that so that the new screens can go in the car, which I'll probably do during the week. We'll skip that part. Not that exciting anyway. I'll paint this fellow here black. I've got him masking tape. It's also 11 o'clock at night and I've kind of done a lot, so I'm going to call it there for tonight. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you haven't liked and subscribed us, please do that stuff because, well, it makes me feel better when people like it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch us on the next one. Thank you.